Hey everyone, welcome back to Cue Balls Reef. My name is Rob. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button. And if you like this content, leave me a like, any comments below. So if you're new to the channel, this is your first look at my 180 gallon reef tank. If you've been here before, you'll notice things look a lot different. All my fish, with the exception of 4, are gone. I've got this little yellow damsel left, my firefish, there's a blue-green chromie hiding back there, and my yellow watchman goby. So yeah, death happened, lots of it. Lost my tangs, my school of chromies, my clownfish, my trigger, just about everything with the exception of the fish that I showed you. I'm not sure what got everybody, suspecting it was brook, but not 100% sure. You'll also notice that just about all of my SPS, which I had a bunch all over this structure here, well, I lost all those too because dinos happened. That was back in the spring and took me about 2 months or so, but I finally got the tank back sometime around April or May, and all that I was left with was pretty much my softies. So yeah, the tank looks completely different than the last time I shot a video. But the dinos are gone. Unfortunately, the fish are gone. So I'm kind of at a starting point where the tank is being reset, unfortunately. So what did I do? Dinos pretty much just got my nutrients up to where they needed to be. Actually probably went a little too high. My nitrates were around 40 and my phosphate was about 0.2. Pretty sure that contributed to all the death of my acros and my other SPS corals. And yeah, lots of death. So I did start over. Some of the stony corals that survived, this meat coral here, I don't even know what this is. Could be a trachea, could be a lobo, not sure, but he kind of survived everything and didn't really miss a beat. That was pretty much the only stony coral. You know, I have this acan echinata that survived, and my trumpet coral in the back there, or candy cane, I guess, whatever they call it these days. He survived, but he's not really thriving. I went from 6 or 7 heads down to 3 heads, so he's still alive, but just barely. So over the past couple weeks, I did start adding some stony corals in just to kind of, you know, see what's going on. I added this Duncan back here. He's loving life. Started off as 1 head and he's up to about 5 now. Added a Goniopora. He's really thriving. I bought this from Petco. They didn't know what it was and sold it to me for 15 bucks. So he's taken off. And then I also added a clam just to see if clam would survive. And he's doing okay. It's a Durasa clam. Got it from Petco. So he's doing okay right now. Everything else, let's see, I got a Blastomusa back there. Don't mind the bowl. I bought some snails to help clean the glass because just about all my snails died also from the dinos. But I put all the snails in this bowl here and let them crawl themselves out. That way I know who's alive and who's not. But yeah, we got this Blastomusa back here. He seems to be doing okay. And I added a bird's nest, which decided to frag itself, so now I have two. But this is just a basic SPS coral, so just kind of testing the waters, making sure that my tank will support SPS corals again. Currently my parameters, my nitrates are at about 15, my phosphate is at 0.08, and things are doing okay. So what did we change? Some upgrades. My biggest upgrade, I decided to get me a Neptune system. So this is the Apex with a dose, and I also got a Trident, and decided to make this little board here just to keep everything on the up and up. Right now my parameters have been super solid. My alkalinity dangles right around 9. My calcium is at 420, and my magnesium is 1390. It's been pretty stable and solid like that for about the past 6 weeks, so I think that was a great investment. With the Trident and the dose and the Apex system all working together, my parameters have never been more stable. And it's nice because you don't really have to worry about testing the big three once a week or every other day or whatever you want to do. It's a nice change of pace. I check my Apex probably 2 or 3 times a day, and then usually once a week I'll go in with my HANA checkers, which I have a slew of them. But I'll go in with my HANA checkers and just double check that the Trident is what it says it is. The only problem I'm noticing so far with the Apex, it does measure my pH, and it's about, I don't know, 0.5, 0.6 off from what the HANA checker says. My pH right now, according to HANA, is 8.2, and according to the Apex, it's 7.8. So you do the math. But I did order some new calibration solution from from Bulk Reef Supply, just to recalibrate that pH probe. Seems to be the only one that's really off, as far as, you know, getting my measurements. That's the only one that really seems to be weird. So the other upgrade, let's see, I started a new hospital tank. This is a 40-gallon breeder. These are the only 2 lone survivors from whatever disease took over my tank and killed all the other fish. My blue hippo tang, he's doing okay, and my one Clarky clownfish who's really missing his anemone. So this is just as simple as a setup as you can get. I had some old rock laying around, so I threw it in there. I'm not medicating this tank right now. I just have hyposalinity running, so hopefully whatever it was that got on my fish, it doesn't seem to be affecting these 2. So I'm going to leave these 2 in here for probably about 3 months, and hopefully get them back into the main display. You know, it's a super simple setup, just 2 hang on the back filters for mechanical filtration. I did put an ATO on there just to maintain the hyposalinity, and the fish feeder. Had an old Kessel laying around, so I threw it on there for light. Just keep the light at a real low setting so the algae doesn't get out of control. I am letting some of the algae grow, just so that tang has something to chew on, and they seem to be enjoying this tank. So, you know, 40-gallon breeder, $1 per gallon at Petco, super simple little observation tank. I won't even call it a quarantine tank because I'm not medicating. I'm not doing anything other than just observing. So I guess, you know, maybe that is quarantine, but if I do need to medicate, I'll take all the rock out just so, you know, the medications and what have you don't become an issue with the rocks. So yeah, simple little hospital tank, I like to call it, for under $100. You know, I set this up really cheap and easy. And then my other little tank here, this is just, I'm just keeping it going just to keep this rock cycled. I had a bunch of old rock laying around, so I just decided to throw it in this tank. And if I ever need to use this tank for whatever reason, it'll already be cycled and I shouldn't have any problems with it. Again, just another hang on the back mechanical filtration. This light I got on Amazon. It's one of those Lamani, whatever you want to call it. It's like 25 bucks. And then just a heater and a pump just for circulation. So if I ever need to use this is just a 15-gallon tank. So if I ever need to use it or medicate anything, I've got something set up there. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much about it. You know, this hobby will really test you sometimes. This has been one of my greatest tests in the 3 years I've been in the hobby. And having so much loss, I mean, it almost drove me right out of the hobby, especially after all my fish started dying. You know, the dinos I could deal with, the coral death, you know, corals come and go, unfortunately, but the fish, I mean, that was a huge loss. Even my wife was just devastated at all the death that was happening, and it happened fairly quickly, over a matter of a week. I mean, it wasn't spread out over months. It was just every morning I would come down and check on the tank and there would be another dead fish. And, you know, it hurts because they, you know, they become your pets, and, you know, to lose them all so quickly and to not have any idea what was going on, it hurts. So we'll start over again. You know, definitely can't stress enough about quarantining fish, because I did, whenever I would add a new fish, it would go into the, you know, the 15-gallon tank there, and I would observe it for a few weeks, especially fish that I would buy from Petco, because God only knows what's in their tanks. But even fish that I bought online, I would always you know, observe them for a couple weeks just to make sure that there was nothing obvious. And yeah, even this, somehow, some way, it got through, and this was the end result. I mean, just total loss just about of everything. Unfortunately for the fish that did survive in this tank, they're kind of my canary in the coal mine. You know, I'm going to watch them. This is now my observation tank. They don't seem to be showing any signs of anything. No spots, no lesions, no nothing. They are just continuing to do their thing. Hopefully that doesn't mean that they're carrying whatever it was that got all my other fish. So this is kind of my test. I'm not going to put any fish in here for quite a while, especially any expensive fish. We're just going to, you know, ride these guys out, and if they survive the next 3 or 4 months, then I'll assume that whatever parasite or bacteria or whatever it was that killed everybody else is gone. Hopefully that'll be enough, and then I can slowly start adding fish in. I did add a UV sterilizer back when I was fighting dinos, so hopefully whatever got to all the fish, maybe the UV sterilizer is taking care of it. I don't know. We'll find out. But in the meantime, we're in the rebuilding phase. I mean, I do have a lot of coral in here now, but they're mostly just softies. Everybody seems to be doing great softy wise, and I'll keep an eye on the stony corals that I have, and you know, if they seem to do well, we'll get back into the coral game. But for now, this is what the tank's going to be, up until I can really get an idea and a grasp on what happened. So I know it's been a while since I've done any updates on the tank. Tank's coming up on almost a year now, so I figured, well, I'll throw another video up. Sorry, it's kind of a rambling video, kind of a long one, but a lot's happened in the last 3 or 4 months. So yeah, that's where we're at. Anyway, if you like this content, drop me a thumbs up. Any comments would be greatly appreciated. And we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.